Good evening, everybody. My name is Robert Wood. I'm the lead smith and owner at Serendipity Forge. Just wanted to do a short video this evening on heat treating. One of our customers had requested information on how we heat treat our blades. Now, anybody who's ever watched that certain TV show has seen those folks take their blade and they dunk it in the oil and they pull it out and they get the big fireball. That's the quench. You've heard the quench talked about a lot if you've watched that certain TV show. The quench is absolutely paramount in order to get a blade hard. But there are other steps that you have to go through before the quench. The first step in a proper heat treat is normalization. Normalization is a process by which the steel is heated and then allowed to air cool, and this relieves the stress in the blade. The stresses that have been built up by forging or by grinding or any other processes that you've done to it, that relieves the stresses and makes the blade much less likely to crack in the quench, much less likely to come out of the quench warped. So, I've got a little short video and we'll watch that and I'll talk through some of the specifics of how it's done. I hope you enjoy. If you do, like and subscribe. We'd appreciate that very much. Leave us a comment in the comment section. I always like to hear from you. If you've got any ideas for future videos, then by all means, drop us a line and let us know. Well, that's enough of this though. Let's move on to the forge. Well, you can watch this first bit. And no, I'm not really moving that fast. I've not had nearly enough coffee for that. I'm fast forwarding through this first little part. And then in a few minutes, when the blade comes out of the fire, I'll drop back to real time so you can kind of get a feel for how long it takes for the blade to actually cool during the normalization. Should be coming out soon. And still waiting. Still waiting. Oh, there we go. Now, blade's cooling off in still air. If I had any kind of breeze moving around in the shop, I'd put the blade in a sheltered area. I don't want to lay it on a surface because I don't want anything to suck the heat out of the blade. I want it to cool on its own and cool slowly. And you can see it fading away. Color's going away. Till it looks almost black. Almost black. Now here's where a person might be tempted to throw it right back in the forge because it looks like most of the color's gone, but nope, it's not cool enough. So we'll go to a shaded area. Now you can actually watch that blade cool. I'm not waving it around. Don't have a fan blowing on it. I want that blade to cool slow. Down to black. Pardon my finger being over the camera. And back in the fire. Ready to bring it up to the next normalizing heat. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of a video. It should have been much longer, but my wife and daughter are off at a show this weekend. So I didn't have a cameraman and I was filming myself, and in the midst of what I was doing, my mama called and, well, I accidentally hit the stop button. But that's okay. We'll talk through it. You'll understand. Oh, and by the way, if your 70-some-year-old mama calls and you don't answer the phone, you are a sorry individual and not the kind of person that I have any use for. I'll just put that right there. So, what we have in the video is the first normalization heat. In that video, I know the camera, the colors on the camera are absolutely terrible. Trust me when I say that when the knife came out of the forge and I put it in the shade, it was an orange color, a good solid orange. So that orange color corresponds to probably around 1700 degrees, 950 degrees Celsius if you want to play with metrics, or no. We'll stick with the American 1700 degrees. So it came out orange. Then as you watched, it air cooled. Now, when it went to black, it went back in the forge, and I brought it to a dull orange, right around, probably around 1500 degrees. Like I said, I do this stuff old school. I don't have the fancy equipment. I don't have pyrometers. I do it all by eye and just by experience. A dull orange color. Let it soak for a minute at that dull orange. Bring it out. Repeat the process you watched in the video. Let it air cool to black. As soon as it goes back to black, it goes back in the forge, and this time I bring it up to a cherry red color. What I'd call a cherry red. The color probably corresponds to about 1450 degrees. Let it soak, bring it out, and let it air cool to touch, to the point where you can actually touch the blade without being burned. After that, then the blade will go back into the forge and be brought up slowly to a non-magnetic temperature to critical, which is where a magnet ceases to stick to the steel, and then it can go into the quench. And that's the first part of your heat treat. And that's the part we're going to talk about right now. Maybe we'll talk about tempering sometime in a future video, but right now that's what you need to know. 3 steps, 3 normalization cycles, starting off hot and then decreasing the temperature with each successive cycle until it air cools to touch, and then you can put it back in the forge and bring it up to a critical temperature and quench the blade. That's how I do it for hypoeutectoid steels. That blade that I was doing was 1084, that's a good steel for a blade this size. Now, if it were a different alloy, I'd have done things a little differently, but that's it for this one. It works great. So, like I said before, if you enjoyed the content, like and subscribe, leave us a comment in the comment section, and have a blessed night, and we'll see you on the next one.